going to Auckland next in a couple weeks. I never been, so I'm excited.
You going where?
To New Zealand.
Oh, okay, okay.
Yeah, we'll see how it goes.
Just
It's
a
supposed to be the
vacation trip.
safest place. It's supposed to be the safest place in case of a war. That's not where I'm going though. And
Oh, really?
that's what they say. Is as far as nuclear, whatever. I don't know. I don't even.
Mm,
But no, I know this. I met a girl. Oh my gosh, this had been a few years ago now in Barcelona, and she has a resort there in the rainforest. So I want to
oh,
just go and
wow.
unplug because there's so much going on in the world right now, and I've had
Yeah,
a couple years. Or
yeah,
blessed, but just a lot.
yeah, yeah. I know what you mean. You gotta have those resets. Like I came back home to do a reset myself. So I went to New York first. I was gonna stay up there a little bit longer, but then my dad had the surgery out the blue, so just flew down.
Yeah, that's the most important thing. Hopefully, he recovers well, and then you can move on, do what you need to do.
Yeah, yo, yeah, he recovering good. He recovering good.
That's good. That's good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've been working the last couple of years to get the cannabis delivery. So I
Hmm.
finally got the license in January. Um, so yay to that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, however, like right when I started the business, the owner sold the location, which I knew he was planning on selling.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um,
Yeah.
but he had told me that the new owner would give me a new lease, which wasn't the case. But I got an attorney, and so he had to compensate me fairly, so that wasn't the worst. But now I have to find a new location. But you know what? Now I'm just like maybe you know God is so good, like maybe He's just giving me a little time because it's a delivery business and the price of gas is crazy right now.
Yeah.
So
How much is gas down there?
here it's like $7 a gallon.
Oh my god. It's pretty much $4 here in North Carolina. Now it's 350. It's 353 at this one.
Got the patent for it. The first product was good. It just wasn't quite strong enough, so I need a different binder. So I'm working on that now.
Dope.
Um,
Dope.
yeah, and I think maybe just I feel like God is kind of pivoting me like from the cannabis, like because the payout the guy had to give me is enough to really get in and dig in and do what I need to do to get the manufacturing done for the hair.
Oh wow. You got you a good lawyer.
And that's why I wanted to say, like, you have to fight for yourself because, like, when he gave me the notice, I was like, dude, like, first of all, I've paid my rent up for the next 2 months, you know. Like, it
Hmm.
can't be that you can just kick me out like that. And
Right.
everyone was just, I reached out to a few attorneys and they're like, oh, the laws are different in commercial. You don't have the protections like you do for residential in San Francisco, you
Yeah.
know. And that was that can't be right. Like he can't, surely he can't.
Right.
So, and finally, I pivoted to a different attorney search, one who had, worked exclusively in cannabis. And he was like, oh, yeah, I know that space. He was like, those guys have gotten rich off that space. He was like, it was old Irish people. He fell short of saying mob. He said,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
and then he said, then they sold it to the Italians. And he said, who did you rent from? I said, from the Italians. And it's so crazy because I wanted that space so badly, Corey, because it's like a block from my house. And I literally like courted it for a year. And when I got it, I thought it was kind of odd because the guy was Italian. And he was kind of like, nah, he still wasn't feeling me after he met me, when I toured the space. It's like, I don't really know if I want to rent it. I'm taking such a loss. I was renting for 10,000 a unit. Mind you, the space is like 300 square feet and he has 10 of them on each side. They were killing it, right?
Wow. Yeah.
And, and he wasn't sure. And so then we went to Little Italy to like his cousin's restaurant. And his cousin was like, I don't remember where he was from. But I speak a little Italian, so I pull that shit out, and I was like, oh, era studentessa forense per due l'estate, whatever the fuck I said. And then his cousin was like, no, she's cool. I think she's cool. And they rented it to me. But they wouldn't give me a solid lease. They gave me like I negotiated for the lease because the way cannabis works is you have to lease the building to
Mm,
even go through the process, right? So it's like a 2-year process. So it's like a year or two minimum that you're renting a space that you can't make any money off that space, right?
wow.
And you have to think of that with the price of real estate in San Francisco.
Right. Right.
So I was trying to negotiate that from the beginning, you know what I mean? And so
Hmm.
I was like, well, why don't you give me a 2-year lease at a discounted rate and then we'll like renegotiate the lease, right? So at the end of the 2 years, which was about how long it took me, I kept trying to get a new lease. He would not give me a new long term lease. Come to find out, it was because he knew he was going to sell that building. You know what I
Yeah. Yeah.
mean? In hindsight. And so, but he didn't do everything. Like, he didn't fade your girl. So, because I had went and put a notice of special use on the building with the courthouse. So anything that went on with that building, financial, like I would get a copy of it, right? He had to know. So long story boring. My lawyer was like, yeah, like they're not gonna wanna like pay you, right? And he was like, and like these are some families that have been in San Francisco for a long time.
Hmm.
Like I was like, well, they just can't fuck me like that. You know what I mean? Like we gotta go for it. He was like, I'm not afraid to go for it. I'm just telling you what it is. If you want to do it, let's do it. So I said, let's do it. So they came back. They're like, oh, we'll give her 7,500. And I was like, well, you tell them to kiss my ass. You know, it went up to 6 figures.
Oh
Because it was a
wow.
position where they needed me out to sell that building.
Oh, okay. That was your leverage. Yeah. Yeah.
You feel what I'm saying? And I was like,
Yeah.
well, hey, like, um, push back your escrow. I don't give a fuck what you do. You know what I'm saying? I need 90 days, in the building. But me knowing the whole time that he didn't have 90 days. I knew that like he had tax problems and there was a lien against the property. I went and did all my homework. And that if he
Hmm.
didn't sell in this sale, that he was going to lose that property.
Oh, okay.
You
Okay.
feel me? So I
Yeah.
just leveraged that. And so now I'm going to take that and try to get a new um, space. But this is why I really want to talk to you because it's some nefarious stuff going on with 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 the programs that they're rolling out in with cannabis. And I don't know that they're doing it in other cities, but since like California and Colorado are the benchmarks for
Right.
most cannabis programs, I
Yeah.
would think that someone is thinking to do it. So I kind of just want to put a warning out there.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
really, when I knew I was onto something, first my attorney told me. He was like, well, he was like, a few people bought up all the green zone property in San Francisco when it first went legal. He was like, and that's why anyone in the cannabis industry, they're paying a lot of money for that rent, you know.
Mm.
Um, that's what they did at this location, and that's what they do at other locations, right?
Mm-hmm.
Then, but when I really knew I was onto something, Corey, I saw Rick Ross, not the rapper Rick Ross, but the real Rick
Real
Ross.
Rick Ross. Yeah, yeah. I seen his interview. Yeah.
Did you see him when he was talking about cannabis?
I don't watch Vlad like that, but I actually watched it a little bit. The clip where he said he getting out of the business.
I didn't see the whole interview. That clip came out. The algorithm picked that clip for me because it knows
Yeah,
that was my ish. You know what
yeah,
I mean?
yeah.
But he was basically saying that he was like, not basically. That's what I just said is exactly what he just said. And
Mm-hmm.
but in L.A., he was like, when weed went legal, they went and bought all the green spaces because of zoning. In any city, you're only going to have to put it. You're going to have to put it in a certain zone, right? Some kind of commercial zone, whatever zone they deem, right?
Right, right.
And then the people go and buy all of that real estate, and then they control that green real estate market. And so they control the barrier of entry for anyone who's coming in.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? I know very few people like black people in San Francisco who have been able to navigate. I know one girl, Reese Bittens, shout out to Reese, she's out in the Bayview. She was able to buy her space, but she was like one of the first people in the game, you know,
Okay.
right? So before they were able to grab all the space. And she's still in a space in the Bayview where you can still get some stuff out there. Like they didn't really come for the Bayview like they did in San
Yeah,
Francisco
yeah.
proper.
They're still trying to gentrify Hunters Point, pay view. Yeah,
Exactly.
yeah.
So I'm just thinking, well, if they did that in California, they did in LA, any place in America, I would think where they're rolling out this programs,
Mm-hmm.
people are probably thinking to do it. So if is anyone thinking to do it, I want it to be our people,
Right,
right?
right.
I want us to be looking into like where are they saying that you can put these establishments, right?
Mm-hmm.
What kind of zoning did they receive? Where is that zoning? Is there anything for sale? And let me see if I can buy something,
Right, right.
right?
Yeah.
Because even I don't know how long it will be until they actually do something to change cannabis. Now that I've been in the industry, like trying to get this licensing for about 3 years now,
3 years.
don't
Yeah.
think that they intend to do anything about it. I think it's just too much of a problem space. They make much money off the people in prison, right? Um, like arrests went down in places where they legalized the hemp and they had the THC at the gas stations and shit. Then they can arrest people how they wanted to. Because people could be, really, they could be
Yeah.
like, oh
Yeah.
no, this is him. Then they have to, like, it really changed
A lot
a lot
of
of
things. Yeah.
things. So,
Yeah.
um,
Because they just changed the THCA laws in Texas, so you can't they can't sell it no more.
right, because, and that was just a big loophole with them not really knowing much about the plant, right? Because like once you burn THCA, it's THC. Like
Yeah, but they knew that though, because everybody I talked to was saying that they're like, yeah, somebody explained it to me. It was like,
yeah, but I don't think the legislators really knew. I think they thought that they were just cutting a deal for the farmers with the hemp um, content, and they kind of didn't really know what to do with all of the plant and all of the you know
got
like
it.
just like it is now. But yeah, so I really want to just kind of put that out there. Like, it's a lot of barrier to entry. And I also want to talk about the recruiting. I
Hmm. Hmm.
can't leave here without talking about what's going on in the game right now in Silicon Valley with
Yeah,
AI.
yeah. So let me do the intro, and then we can talk, we can go more in depth
I
about the
thought this
recruiting.
was the interview.
Yeah, yeah, it is, but we ain't do the intro, and
Okay.
I'm doing like a new format where I just get people talking, and then we do the intro because
Okay.
I can
I need
always edit it out. Yeah,
that one.
yeah. Yeah. But yeah, thanks for joining y'all. My name's Corey. Stay Trapping. It's Trap Talks, where we discuss the intersection of culture and tech. I got my homegirl, Indiana Davis. I was about to say Indiana Jones, probably because of
Well,
that
no,
movie.
first time.
But yeah, we met at Yelp. Uh, I call it like the West Coast version of Boiler Room. So if you ever seen that movie about stocks where people were like trading and yelling, we were doing that.
Okay.
She had the wireless headset, and she would be walking around and with the golf club and stuff. But yeah, so you from no, you grew up in Atlanta, but you're from Alabama, right?
I'm from Alabama, born and buttered. I just lived in Atlanta for a while. I lived in
Okay,
Florida
okay,
and now Cali. Yeah.
got it. So she's a hemp or marijuana entrepreneur. Just opened up a new delivery service, which we're going to talk more in depth about. Experienced recruiter, tech sales, or just any tech roles, right?
Yeah, any tech roles.
Any tech roles, yeah.
Yeah.
So she's going to share her insights on how AI is changing how we're doing recruiting and being in the Bay, right? So whatever's happening in the Bay, there's a good chance it's going to permeate everywhere else, right? So we're going to dive into that. And I was looking at your LinkedIn. You also was a certified mediator for the Georgia Supreme Court.
I was, and that yes, I was.
Cool, cool.
Yes.
Um, so yeah, let's get into it. I never knew that. So what was that like being a mediator in the Supreme Court in
Well,
Georgia, the state
I
Supreme?
wasn't. I was just certified by the Supreme Court there, but I really didn't do that long.
Mm-hmm.
Um, it's hard to listen to other people's problems. It was specifically for divorce, so
Okay.
yeah. So that was. It gave me a lot of patience. It really helped me with sales. Just sitting back to hear other people's side, right?
Yeah.
And then trying to
Yeah.
come up with a solution. That's why by the time I got to Yelp, I was so seasoned. I was so calm.
Now this makes sense because I used to be like, because I get y'all like context at Yelp. The customers we would call would ask them for advertising, right? And business owners are control freaks as they should, right? Um, and we would call them to say, "Hey, buy ads with us," and they're like, "Well, can you take our bad reviews down?" So it's like you're selling to people who don't like you, right? And so Indy, she would just be like, I remember I would see you, and I'd be like, "How are you hitting quota consistently? Like it's no problem." And the stuff you would say to people, I'm like, "Wow." It was like
That was
it
all.
was
That was
yeah,
all. That's how you never know where your journey is taking you
yeah,
and what it
yeah,
is preparing you for in the future.
yeah, yeah. But now it makes sense because when you say that you was working in the Supreme Court, now it makes sense how you was able to like really survive in that environment. And like before I joined, I was at Verizon Wireless selling cell phone service to people in person.
Yeah. So
So
that's
that was actually harder than Yelp in some ways. But Yelp was hard too. Like I said, they didn't like us. And then you remember when the CEO said on the sales call, he's like, "We're having a problem hitting revenue because business owners don't like buying ads from us." And I remember we all was on the sales floor. We was like, "Duh." Like,
where have you been, Jeremy?
where have you been? Yeah, where have you been? But
Having lunch with Elon. They were probably having lunch about coming up with SpaceX or something.
right, right, right. Because he was a part of the PayPal mafia. He
Yeah,
interned he interned at PayPal.
all of them did. Yeah,
Yep,
same
yep.
time.
So I gotta go back to that. You said you was mediating like divorce proceedings. Um, what was the most crazy thing that you can say that you kind of dealt with while doing that or heard?
Oh wow. Just the way that people would leverage their kids
Ooh,
just was always kind of nasty. I didn't do a whole lot of it, and it was down in Tampa. You have to do like a certain amount to get, survive. But
yeah,
just the way that people leveraged kids is just really nasty. So
So like they say, like if you don't give me alimony, you can't see the kids. Like it was that type of stuff, or
like more than that, like prepping the kids on what to say against the other and things like that.
mm,
It's really,
yeah, I see why you got out of that.
think it's not something you really want to.
Yeah. Did you notice that was common on both sides, or was it like did you
Yeah,
see? Wow.
absolutely. And the I don't know how they're going to solve it, but and that's especially in our community, but across the board. Um, when it's mandatory, when they take the child support, and the man forever whatever, it just causes such a hatred, like vitriol from the man.
Mm,
Like, I don't know if it's the fact that he's being forced to do it and he didn't want to do it anyway, but like that kind of venom, and then the way that it plays out is really crazy.
yeah, yeah. Like I've heard of a situation. I'm not going to go in depth because I'm actually not supposed to know about it. But I'm like, he's this person is, you know, they're kind of getting ran through with their divorce, and I'm like, wow. Now I kind of believe their actions kind of like led to it,
Hmm.
but it is kind of crazy seeing how people act when they want revenge. You know what I mean? It's kind of just like really crazy. It's like how do you protect yourself from that? And it's kind of
But you can be with a person for a very long time and like married to them for a very
hmm
long time and not even know who they are.
oh for sure,
And
yeah,
then even and just really get the really kicking the bum during the
yeah,
divorce. Like,
yeah,
yeah. So it's
yeah,
great.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So I remember one time you told me we were just talking randomly. You was like, yeah, I know Two Chains or something like that. Like how did you meet Two Chains?
I mean, I don't know him, but I did buy some weed from him back in the day. He my friend was dating this other guy, and Ludacris had a like people that he managed.
Mm-hmm.
What's the name of that? DTP? I don't
Yeah,
remember what
DTP, Deserving the Peace. This was back when he was Titty Boy then.
DTP exactly. So my best friend, Hikma, she was dating one of I-20. His name was I-20. You
Yeah,
know,
yeah, yeah. I
maybe I was
20.
getting weed from I-20, and like he didn't have none, and I had to get some 2 chains or something. Like this was old school Atlanta. Like they weren't famous.
Yeah,
Like
yeah.
I can remember like when Luda came to Birmingham, my first like I they used to have this thing called city stages or something, and it was like one of his first like times performing like a big like thing.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but and my cousin's friend was dating another one of the DT boys. What was that little boy name? Aubrey or something like that. His name was.
I don't remember him.
And so we went there. Yeah. So like I just they were just around. Like it was just that time.
Yeah, yeah.
I was in Atlanta at the right time. 112. I'm older than you, so like 112 was going, and
You don't look your age though, so
yeah, so it was just a time when you would see anybody. I remember when Allen Iverson used to pretty much live at the Embassy Suites on Peachtree. You could go in there anytime and see that nigga just be up in there like holding court. Like he was, and at the time he was super rich. You would think he would be like at the Ritz Carlton or something like that. He would be at the Embassy.
was that around the time he was dating the brat?
Probably, probably. I don't remember him really dating the brat, so I can't say. But Atlanta was just on. Too Short was living there. Too Short was the first guy I seen with a pole in his. He had a pole in his house. I thought that was like crazy. I was like just out of high school. I was like, oh my god, do we have to strip? He wasn't
That's
on that.
crazy.
He was a player.
Yeah, 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 yeah. That's funny.
Yeah,
So
but yeah,
so yeah. So you I definitely want to get your thoughts on how like AI is just changing recruiting, because it's just from my perspective. I'm interviewing for roles, and it's gotten like really hard. But one thing that I'll say that's helped me is that I use AI to redo my resume and to fine tune it, and that helped out a lot. But it's like whenever I'm looking on LinkedIn, if I see a role that has like 100 plus applicants, I'm like, ain't no point. Like, I've seen when I've gotten alerted about a job coming open, and then like 10 minutes, it's like 100 people don't apply, especially if they got a big name. So I
It's
want
a
to
lot of different
get
things
your
going
thoughts on it.
on.
Yeah.
There's a lot of different things going on. So I hadn't been recruiting a whole lot because I've been working on like getting this cannabis license, which has been like eating up most of all of my everything. But I've been working with this AI. It's an AI platform called Paraform.
Hmm.
Young kids, they're like in their 20s. I think they got like 50 million, maybe 20 million, like first round or something crazy. Which it never amazes me how much money these kids get. That never ceases to freaking amaze me.
Yeah.
But so basically their platform gets all the business leads for me. So then I don't have to do any like BDR at all. You know what I'm saying? I can
Hmm.
just go on there, the um say Decagon, no, whoever's hiring, they look at my profile, you know, see what I've done, who I've hired. Like I have a rating within that platform, right? And say, okay, she's a top recruiter, shows results. And then like they have to say, like, yeah, I want her to work with me. Right.
Mm.
And then
Okay.
after you have made a certain amount of placements or whatever the case, um, you pretty much can just work on whatever you want because then they want to work with you. So um, I've been doing that. It's good. The money's good. Like ranges from 17 to 60K a placement, you know, depending on different factors. Um, but okay, so let me go back. You know, I've always been like really diversity's my ish. And
Hmm.
so
Hmm.
since CDMX maybe like a year ago or no, whenever Trump was just like running for office, I was in Mexico. And I was like doing this balloon ride with these two girls from LA and they're like, well, are you um afraid about, you know, he might cut diversity, you know? And I flippantly said, oh, I'm not worried about that. I'm a great recruiter, right?
Yeah. Yeah.
Eat all those words. Like, but you gotta stop acting like it's you. Because like no one could have told me within a year that all of the diversity would literally be a bad word, right?
Yeah.
I've
Hmm.
had people tell me to take the diversity and equity off my profile if I want to, you know, get more traction with new clients. Just, you know, take a minute to think about that. Like that's crazy,
Yeah, that is.
you know?
Yeah.
Um, so now like I'm working with this platform and I see that without saying it, diversity is not on the freaking menu, right? And
Yeah.
all of these are the top, these aren't like companies that are quote unquote worried about being affected by political policies because they're still private, right?
Hmm.
These are seed through Series C, right?
Hmm.
You know,
Hmm.
so you wouldn't think they would be as affected, right? You would think that that would be, you know, but it's not. And the requirements are as such. We only want people who have a CS degree. Okay, that's cool. And I just say that is because one of my biggest things why I've always loved Silicon Valley is like you could get into the game without going to college,
Right.
right? You could go to a boot camp. You could really learn how to code. Google would hire you. Microsoft would hire you. Some of these other, like they, if you could code, that's no, that's boot camps. Like you can just forget about. And I've had some
Yeah.
really good people that I know how to code really well, right?
Mm-hmm.
I know can get the job done. And I'm looking at their resume. They're reaching out to me now with these customers like, hey, I need a job. And I don't want to say, baby, they're only taking people if you have a CS degree from one of the top 25 schools. That's it. That's
Mm-hmm.
all. The filter is on, and you better believe your resume is not getting through that freaking filter.
Mm-hmm.
On some platforms, they won't even let you submit it
Wow.
for a look. It's getting totally filtered out. So it's crazy out here.
Wow. Yeah. Yeah, and I noticed the boot camp conversation started changing our price. I kind of noticed it started going down actually before the pandemic,
Hmm.
because it seemed like, and then when I dug into it, most of the people who were getting placement quickly, they actually had like a 4 year degree, or they were already. So the story about, you know, you just go to boot camp and then get placement. Most of the people that was getting those placements, they had already gone to college, and then now they're getting a boot camp degree or what have you. And now they're getting placed. So that was, I think, the other piece that people didn't really talk about. A lot of those people who got placed, they had degrees already, so they already knew how to talk somewhat of the language, somewhat.
I mean, they did have schools out here where you could go, and it was really expensive, right?
Mm-hmm.
You
Mm-hmm.
could go, and they would teach you. It was a boot camp, and then they would guarantee placement. Now they had
Yeah.
that, but it
Yeah.
was still pricing poor people out because they're like 300K, and you had to have all the money or something. You know,
Yeah.
You're
Yeah.
going to get $150,000 job at the end of it, right? So
Right.
it's always been that, but the fact that you have to go to Carnegie, Stanford, Yale,
Harvard,
Harvard.
MIT.
The only way you're going to get a little diversity, maybe, is um, through like Georgia Tech. It's still that's the top 25 CS school. So that'll work. Michigan, like that's the top. That'll work. Uh, University of Texas Austin, like that'll work. But other than that, and those schools ain't like no punks or nothing. I'm just saying a lot of those have state programs where you can get into those,
Right.
right? They have like programs where you can state schools where the admission, you guaranteed admission, or they pay for it, or whatever the case.
Right.
But like that's not the case at Yale and those other places, right? Because now they can cut affirmative action.
Yeah. I heard about that. Yeah.
And so now you have a lot of younger, rich kids who never really had to do the work, right? Because if they didn't get the grades, they were going to get passed,
Mm-hmm.
right? Like it costs a lot of money to buy into Harvard, but you can do it,
Mm-hmm.
you
Mm-hmm.
know, and those other schools. So, um, you know, those are the jobs that are going to be left that aren't taken by AI because, just because it's going to be replacing those jobs.
Yeah.
Um, a lot of rich people are going to get them, and I'm not going to say white people because it's just about rich people.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Whoever has that money, right?
So how does someone like protect themselves or kind of like come out of the situation, right, where it actually can be more favorable to them? Like, what is your advice for someone who still wants to break into engineering?
If
Do you tell
someone
them?
wanted to break into engineering today, I would tell them to look into the hardware, right? Look into like you can make really good money, like the soldering, and the placement of the chips, the physical hardware, right? Um, because not saying that it won't get there, but right now the robots just aren't there to do that on the scale that they need.
Yeah.
And the scale that it's rolling out, I don't think it'll be there for a while.
Yeah.
You know, I'm not saying it's foolproof, but it'll give you like 10, 20 year window, right?
Yeah.
Before it
Yeah.
gets there. Whereas with coding, like that ship sails
Mm,
pretty much, you
yeah.
know. And the other thing I would say, if you want to get into tech, research. Research is a great avenue. The thinkers, the readers, because they need people to train this data,
Right.
right? Um, and that is going to have longevity in the future. That's where I would say was at.
Mm,
If a kid came to me and asked me that question, or I would probably tell them to go be a plumber.
yeah. I was looking at getting my HVAC because I'm like,
I
they
mean,
ain't going nowhere. Electricians, they need them in
electricians
this.
are going to be so in demand because you have to think all this AI requires data centers,
Hmm.
right? Those data centers have to be repaired at some point, right? They're not just going to be running magically and never need any repair. So then those electricians are going to be able to pay top dollar.
Yeah.
I mean, charge top dollar.
Yeah.
So like, I feel like for me, if I had a kid come to me and ask them what to do, I would definitely say, hey, if college isn't for you, sit it out and find you a job, where you have to have a skilled labor job.
Hmm.
I think that's where we're at.
Yeah, because I agree with you. It's going to take a long time for robotics to get to that level. Um,
Yeah.
yeah. Yeah.
But the fix is definitely in. Um, the the way that technology is going to change over the next decade is going to be at a dizzying pace, right?
Hmm.
So people, it's like a tornado. So if people aren't hunkering down now, thinking about it, it's gonna it might lay waste to you, right? So
Yeah.
I would think I would tell anybody to kind of take an AI assessment of their life, like
Yeah.
how
Yeah.
could it affect me? How could it affect my kids? How could it affect the way I earn, the way I invest? You have to think about all those things because now you have computers that are doing like computations that affect everything,
Hmm.
right?
Yeah. I was just using ChatGPT and Claude to come up with a investment strategy that was based on the current market, and I'm like, create me a all. It's called all weather strategy, basically, where you can create a portfolio that is built to last any type of economic downturn or what's happening. And so it's like, that's why I personally been looking into. I haven't built one yet, but building AI agents that work for me. Like I follow this one person, I forgot her name. I think it's Nikki. She's like a social media person, and she was showing folders of different AI agents she had made for integrating with her QuickBooks to writing content to checking her content. I think we're basically going to have to all be
Agentic
good
AI,
at.
yeah.
Yeah.
If you're not gonna, if you can't, if you in the future, if you're not able to like create your own agent, give it its guidelines, tell it what it needs to do, and create great prompts, you're going to be behind. And I
Hmm.
would tell anybody if you like, I know some HBCUs have these AI certificates and classes, get one. People that are like looking for new employees, they want that skill,
Hmm.
you know. So I don't know if it would fully insulate you, but it would definitely help.
Yeah, because the more I think about it, it's like with AI, and if you're good at creating agents, it basically turns everyone into like a manager, right?
Yeah,
So it's like, think of it's almost like being creating these AI agents is like being in management.
I created one for my recruiting, right?
Mm,
So like when I get a candidate, it, I can drop it in there. It knows exactly what I want it to do, right? It's going to go in. It's going to check it against the not only the job description, but the intake that I got from that hiring manager,
yeah.
all that information, and then it's going to rate it on a scale on a scorecard for me. And if it passes that scorecard, it's going to split out an email,
Mm. So how
and
much time is that saving?
it saves me a lot of time because I don't have to. It saves me a lot of time because I don't have to go in for what I do. The outreach is important, right?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So like the kind of engineers that I want, I can't just reach out and be like, "Hey, I got a job." I have to look at their profile and say, "Oh, I see you've been working on the back end, doing this language, building whatever, right?" And because of that, I think you're a fit for this project, and here is why. Like that's the way I'm going to get my right. So for me to do that the long way, it's a lot of damn reading.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And then I have to like really figure out, okay, what does this guy want to do? Is he a really good fit? Can he do everything that they want in this? You know what I'm saying? So just the speed,
Mm-hmm.
you know. So
Yeah.
yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. So y'all hear it from a recruiter herself. You better get good at AI or become an electrician or something.
Was that the takeaway, Corey?
I'm gonna be real with you. Like I said, I thought about getting my HVAC. Like I was really seriously looking into it.
I don't see why anyone wouldn't, and more than anything, and people say it, but you got to have multiple streams of
But
income
you got to,
because
got
at the
to.
end of the day, like even the last couple of years were hard for me with me trying to get this license and not having that much, like diversity, pivoting from doing diversity to like figuring like how I was going to get clients when that was my whole hook, you know. Um, if I didn't have more than one thing in the oven, and also friends to be like, girl, to depend on, like, I wouldn't have made it.
Mm,
So I just, tell people to look into that, be looking to become, owners, you know, go on the
yeah.
land bank in your city, see what they have, you know what I'm saying? Like all those things, all the things,
Fix your credit. Make sure your credit is good.
all the things,
All the things.
all the
Yeah.
things. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, because you just look at what's happening now with gas going up, obviously because of the Iran war or whatever. But like, you have to be. I feel like everyone at a minimum should be an investor. Um, I don't think everyone's built to necessarily be an owner, but you should definitely be an investor, right?
Absolutely.
Because you gotta, like I've explained this to a couple people, especially if you're on fixed income or even just looking at inflation itself. Inflation's gonna get to a point where you won't be able to work hard enough to pay your bills.
Yep.
Like
That's
it's
my
it's going
point.
to be like even when you look at it now, like I said, with gas going up, it's $4 here in North Carolina. It's about $4. It's a little bit cheaper in Texas because Texas they produce oil. Cali is what $6 to $7. That's a major input cost in everything we consume. So if gas is going up, I mean it was. I remember when it was like I was paying about 169 right before this war kicked off.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Well,
and so now that's more than double. So what do you think that's going to do with food cost? What do you think it's going to do when you ordering stuff online? That's a physical product, right? So it's like, you know, we got to have multiple streams of income, you know.
And also when you're like right now, and this is just my opinion, of course, I feel like the way the administration is currently running what they're running, um, the economy is going to, you know, is what's going to, take the hit from it. I think they're going to,
Oh, for sure.
run all the way like to the ground.
Yeah.
And like, um, the only way for families to kind of mitigate, because it's going to be hard for everybody, but the only way that you can kind of mitigate financially from that, the way I see it, is to be invested. So you are buying some of those stocks when they go all the way to the bottom. Because one thing about it, they will go back up.
Mhm.
It'll be slow. You know what I'm saying? It won't be
Mhm.
whether it's what's the saying that it takes the escalator down. The market takes the escalator down and the stairs going up.
Yeah, yeah. I never heard that, but yep. Because it bounced back from what it was.
Right. You know what I'm saying? So like,
New highs today for Nasdaq and S&P.
so the fix is in. As
Mm-hmm.
like, because there's no way like there should be what's going on with the oil supply, and then like the Nasdaq and the S&P are still in the green. Like it really doesn't make sense. I don't know. Like all of the things. I don't know if we can trust the numbers because like they're behind and they're lagging. The data's all old. It's
Yeah,
just it's a lot going on.
yeah, and you know the market always overreacts. It always overreacts whether the news is good or bad. And for me, I kind of see. I don't know. I think because I've heard predictions that we're going to have a recession in 2027, and I don't necessarily see how with these gas prices being so high, people are driving less. So that means less people are moving around, and what's going to happen? You know?
Well, my friend has a granny who's like over 100 years old.
Wow.
Sharp as a tack, she is, Miss Maddie Coleman. And last year, she said, "I've seen it when it was just like this." And I said, and she was like, right before the depression last time, she said people was acting just like this. And she just meant the way everything. I was like, okay, well, I heard it there. She's not saying what she thinks. She's saying what she actually knew and what she actually lived through. So,
Yeah, I mean that's because there was a lot of euphoria right before the Great Depression happened. There was like a lot. I mean the Roaring Twenties, and then
so
things
and
just
then,
caved in. Yeah.
yeah. So, I think that there's a lot going on out here. I think that people really need to think about how AI is going to change their world personally.
Hmm.
Like,
Hmm.
um, how that looks for your kids and how it could look, for you, because it is that people you're if people are thinking, I never it's never been this hard to get a job, you're right.
Yeah, it's never been this hard. I mean, it was. This is harder than when I first got out of college in 2010. Like this is worse
Yeah.
than that.
If people the amount of people that they've laid off, like qualified people that are in the pool that cannot find um work is crazy. And
Yeah.
like the fact that it was so many black women laid off
Hmm.
was not by accident,
Hmm.
right? They know that black women are the backbone of black society in America.
Yeah.
They know that,
Yeah.
and they know that yeah. So get into healthcare
Hmm.
or get into I just with the state of AI as enthusiast, and I've been an enthusiast ever since I've lived out here. I've been out here now 12 years.
Hmm.
You know, like I just have to say, like, it might be time to kind of look at other things as well. You
Yeah,
know.
yeah, and that's why like companies that I'm looking at are what I call mission critical if they're in tech, right? So like health tech, war tech, um, cybersecurity. I will put cybersecurity in war tech too because that's like another tactic. But look at like I'm trying to stay away from consumer tech oriented
Yes.
companies like Square because Square, they in Jack Dorsey's memo, and I give it to him. That was a great package that he pretty much gave people. Like he did people real solid. Like most companies are doing that.
What did he give them?
He gave them. They were able to keep their laptop. He gave them pretty much everybody got like what I would consider a hefty package from the standpoint of most people don't get them, and then they were getting healthcare for at least 6 months, something like
Okay.
that.
Okay.
Um,
Yeah.
yeah, so he gave them a real good package, and then obviously the higher up the chain you are, you probably already have that negotiated anyway, especially if you're an executive or VP level. But like the average people who are like individual contributors, it's they got some really good. He gave them a really good package, but I think the real reason why they had that layoff, I don't think it was necessarily because of AI. I think it's because people are moving less money through their platform. Because if you look at credit default rates, consumer credit is at like all time high. So I think it's more of that going on versus
Okay.
AI. Even though he did quote intelligence, and I think he quoted that. That's because that's what everybody's saying. But consumer spending is the backbone of America. Like, so if higher unemployment, less spending, but everybody's talking about we are more efficient. Like, nah, you're making less money. They just don't want to say that. I believe.
Well, well, I will say this as well. Every company now has the option to say that they're cutting because of AI, even if
Mm-hmm.
it's not cutting because of AI, right?
Mm-hmm.
Um, and it's such a boom. It is just like the boom that happened in Silicon Valley before,
Mm-hmm.
right? When it was kind of the internet, no one really knew who was going to win. No one
Right.
would have who would have been on top. That's for sure. They
Yeah.
weren't even in the race.
Right.
They weren't even in the race. So no one knows how this AI is going to shake out. The only thing kind of for sure, as I said, is the hardware, right? And NVIDIA has a lot for the most part.
Mm-hmm.
But even with that, so many things are dependent on um, the world economy flowing right.
Right.
Because when you go to think of hardware, now you're talking about natural materials,
Resources here.
right? That have to go into those. So, and guess where they put those natural resources? Where God put those natural resources?
In
Everywhere in the world
Africa.
where there's brown people.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? Black people.
Yeah.
We do like we control that.
Yeah.
So there's like that's a lot of geopolitical
Political stuff. Yeah.
stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah. To say
Yeah. Like you look at Sudan now. Sudan is about to be three countries, and they got natural resources there. Um,
Sudan has a huge like gas reserve, like one of the biggest outside of like Ethiopia or
in
something.
Nigeria.
Nigeria. That's what I'm trying to say. Nigeria.
Yeah.
So, like I don't know, Corey. I think that where they're playing and the way that they're playing, um, the oil money is holding up the dollar. So that's all I can really say about that.
I never heard nobody put it like that, but I agree with you because the petrodollars was mainly used for trading. But the Chinese just made a deal. Was it with Iran or something? Basically, they're using the yuan as their petro, or they're using the yuan. They're using that, so that's reducing the power of the dollar. But I
And it
mean,
wouldn't take but a few other countries to say, you know what, we're not going to use a dollar either. We don't want to trade our oil in dollars either.
mm-hmm,
You know what I'm saying? If Ethiopia, I keep making them Ethiopia, Nigeria. hops on and say they want to do it. The Sudan, India, you know what I'm saying? Like if they all get together, like then we're cooked.
Yeah, 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 yeah. We just gotta, like I say, you know, we. That's why I say investing because at least you can get the benefit of these costs going up. It can make your portfolio go up, so
That's
at
what
least
I'm
that
saying.
you
At
can
least you can
cover
be
your
buying
costs.
in
You know.
because I don't think I don't think he plans on leaving the office without making all of his people really really rich. And
Hmm.
I don't know what the plan is, but it seems like it might
Definitely
involve
seems like that.
crushing. Seems like it might involve crushing dollars. So I
Yeah,
don't know
yeah,
how that works above my head.
yeah. So I want to ask one more question around, and then I gotta head out. My mom's rushing me, so I gotta, when mom's rushing, you gotta get out.
I'm
But
surprised you're still on the phone now because I know how you feel about.
yeah, yeah. Um, so you're in the marijuana industry. So kind of give us where you see the industry going. I heard there's uh, a guy named Anthony Elagrani. Sorry if I'm screwing up your name. He's one of the co-founders of 40 Tons. He talked about how he's pivoting out of it. Like we had like a direct conversation. I heard the real Rick Ross interview. And then there's another marijuana entrepreneur who was making a drink, and he actually is leaving the industry. Wanted to get your thoughts on where you're seeing where things are going.
Oh, well, it's a hard time for that industry right now. You know, I can say I don't think until they get the real tax relief that they need, you know, it's and schedule correctly that it can make the money that people have made in the past and would expect to make in the future. I just would like to say, as this opening up in different parts of America, try to get you some real estate in the green zone. That's all I can say.
Mm, get your real estate in the green zone. Okay.
Yeah, because that's how they're keeping a lot of people out of the industry. They can't find the space. I'm looking for a new space right now. Rick Ross said he paid too much money for his space. It's a problem, you know.
Mm,
Um, just as with anything, um, everything has a certain zone, commercial, residential, whatever you're buying. So cannabis has to be in a certain zone. Find out what that zone is in your city and see if you can invest. See if you can get some friends and school and invest because that's a good way to get into the industry um, while having something that can be making you money until they figure it all out. And who knows when that will be. Right now, to
yeah.
be in this industry, you have to be passionate. Period.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
It's a passion play.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. Thanks, Indy, for the time. Thanks, y'all, for joining. Again, it's Corey State Trapping with Trap Talks, and yeah, you're gonna come back. We're gonna do a follow up, and yeah, yeah. Thanks for joining.
Anytime, Corey.